Welcome to Spectrum Sundays. I am Francesca D'Alessandro, Miss Thousand Islands of New York, serving my community through AAA appreciation and awareness for autism. I am also a speech-language pathologist with a master's degree from the University at Buffalo.
And I am Megan Sinisi, Miss Pennsylvania 2021 and the founder of a nonprofit organization for autism titled From a New Perspective. I am also a speech-language pathologist with a master's degree from the University of Missouri.
Everyone deserves to feel accepted and included in every space that they walk in. Our series aims to inspire you to advocate for yourself and on behalf of your loved ones. And we are so grateful that you're here with us today. Alyssa Bohm is a high school cross-categorical teacher in Wisconsin. She studied at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, receiving her degree in special education. Alyssa has been part of the Miss America organization for 8 years. She held 4 local titles and won the coveted title and job of Miss Wisconsin 2019 and 2020. She advocates for individuals with disabilities with her initiative, Embracing Special Needs, Building Inclusive Communities. Alyssa has been advocating for those with disabilities since a very young age, as her aunt Cindy has an intellectual disability and inspired her to provide more opportunities for those with disabilities. She has implemented many inclusive programs, been a state ambassador for Special Olympics of Wisconsin, and is also a current state board member for Special Olympics of Wisconsin. Even though Alyssa is now a former state title holder, her advocacy work for people with disabilities will continue in many ways. So there is so much we could talk about because you have such an extensive background in many things, and we really enjoyed our conversation last time. But I wanted to touch a little bit more about your experience with the Miss America organization. And we love talking to different title holders. So could you explain or give us the story on how you first became involved with the organization?
Yes, I started in 2013, which feels like forever ago. But I was a college freshman. I was college freshman at the time, and I had a high school classmate that was the current Miss Racine. And that is where I'm from. And so she was a local title holder, and she saw me at an event one day and said, "You would be great for this. You should do it. I think you'd be awesome." And I had no idea about what Miss America was. Never even watched it on TV before that. And then so funny, I think it was that year that Miss Wisconsin Laura Kepler won Miss America that year. And that was like the only time I ever watched it. But she encouraged me. So I competed in my first local. I competed in Miss Racine. I thought it was really fun. I absolutely loved it. And I just continued on after that and competed in over 25 locals in the last 8 years and held 4 local titles. There was a year that I did not go back to state. I competed in every local I possibly could, and I didn't go back to state. But I learned so much every single time that I competed. And I think it truly did make me the person that I am today, in the fact that I have such a drive to want to achieve my goals and have had so many opportunities to meet and network with people, and especially expand my social initiative.
You and I, Alyssa, have a very similar story, actually. In my freshman year of college, I was at Syracuse University, and a Miss Syracuse won Miss New York, who won Miss America, Nina DeValori. And it was
Nice.
right. It was also in 2013. So we must be around the same age. But yeah, seeing someone from your own community to achieve something so great like that, even something that you were never interested in as a little girl or never paid attention to. And that's what I think is so special about Miss America. You never know the impact that you could have on a young girl. And our jobs are so unique and so different from what people perceive from the live broadcast. So it's amazing that you got a taste of that. And just to hear your story of perseverance through all of those different years of competing, I just think that that's amazing. And I'm so glad that you kept going for it and that you finally achieved your dream of being Miss Wisconsin. That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a crazy ride. There were many times that I wanted to give up and didn't want to continue, or my family members were like, "Why do you keep doing this?" But we all know, being a part of the organization, what it provides to us and what it provides to young women. And that was something that I did not want to give up, or at least regret not doing it one more time.
Yes, absolutely. So in all of these years that you've been involved, what has been your favorite memory as a Miss America title holder?
Oh my gosh. Well, that is a loaded question. Well, I'm going to say specifically to my most current time of being in the organization as a state title holder, the experience that I've had. And I talk a lot about my social initiative, so I'm going to talk something different than my social initiative about a memorable experience, even though those were very memorable for me. It was my last appearance as Miss Wisconsin, and this is a traditional appearance for Miss Wisconsin. So you go to Oconto Fest, which is in Oconto, Wisconsin, which is a very small town, but they have this big festival. And they've had Miss Wisconsin for the last 50 years come to this festival. And you're there for 3 days. And they just treat you like gold. They chauffeur you around. They treat you like they're your daughter. I mean, my host, he called me his daughter the 3 days I was there. And the experiences I had with the people in the town, they really make you feel special. Like you are Miss America when you're in that town. And after that unforgettable experience that I had meeting people, hearing their stories, just being immersed in the culture, I learned so much about the town. They gave me a tour. I cried at the end of that appearance because I felt so loved and I felt so appreciated for what I had done and what I had accomplished as Miss Wisconsin, and that they wanted me to feel celebrated. And it was just being around people as a title holder just makes you feel so full, and you have so many experiences and conversations with all different walks of life. So if I had to pick one, I would say that, but I've had many great experiences being a title holder.
That is so special. I think that is really what makes the job so worth it, is creating that sense of community. And that never goes away because it's such a special feeling, and those connections last a lifetime. And it's not always just about what you do with your social impact initiative. But going back to your social impact initiative, because that is really the topic of our series, we really want to highlight some of the great things that you've done with it. So what do you feel like is your greatest accomplishment within your time of being a title holder?
I think the biggest accomplishment that I had was the partnership that I created with Special Olympics and being an ambassador for the Unified Champion Schools program. And that all stemmed from me also co-creating the UW-Whitewater College organization, which we did not have that before I went to Whitewater. So that created. Then I created the football camp, which then gave me the opportunity to be on the board of directors for Special Olympics, which then gave me the opportunity to be an ambassador for Unified Champion Schools. So I just say that all of those events put together has really been a full circle moment for me with my social initiative, since I care so much about Special Olympics and know how much it has provided for my family and for many others. And I want to continue that work with them.
That's incredible. Well, I know that throughout your 2 years, I'm sure there are so many different things that you accomplished. It's so amazing to hear from state title holders who had that unique opportunity to extend upon their year of service. And because I feel like that first year was probably your warm up. And then the second year, you probably knew exactly what you were doing and you knew how to execute your plan flawlessly. So it's amazing to hear how much you really took hold of that and created a real change for Wisconsin in the Special Olympics. I'd love to touch a little bit more on your role as an educator. And for anyone that doesn't know, what is a cross-categorical teacher? And then also, how has you being an educator interconnected with your social impact initiative?
So cross-categorical means that I have a license in being able to teach students with all different disabilities from the age of kindergarten up to 12th grade. So in the past, most special ed degrees, you had to pick one disability that was going to be your emphasis. So now they have changed that. And we now are licensed in all areas of disabilities. So we need to be experts in everything, which I think is very important because we have so many different children that have different abilities and disabilities, and we need to be able to provide them with that support and that education. And to your second point, my schooling and my teaching has always been a part of my life, along with my social initiative. So they've always gone together. And where the epitome moment was when I realized that I wanted to be a teacher was when I started the Sparkle Squad at my high school, and we were teaching girls cheer moves and dance moves and things like that. And they were performing at an exhibition competition, and they hit their last pose. And everyone gave them a standing ovation, and everyone was crying because it was just a beautiful moment to watch these girls achieve one of their goals. And that was the moment when I realized I think I want to be a teacher, because I enjoyed teaching them so much that I wanted to continue that job. And so it's continued to be a part of my life, of being able to teach students in the classroom, but also advocating for them, which is exactly what I do with my social initiative, is advocating for those with disabilities while also educating people that don't know about disabilities. Sadly, there is still a lot of educators that don't work with people with disabilities, that really don't know how to provide them support or provide them with the proper education, because they do learn differently. And I feel that that is my job, and that is something that I do outside of school with my social initiative and also inside the classroom.
And actually, just as a follow-up question to that, do you feel like it's because of a lack of exposure, or do you feel like it's just a conscious choice that some educators make?
I think it's a little bit of both. And obviously, I can't speak for every single educator that maybe is struggling with providing more inclusive opportunities for students to learn in a different way. But I think we also need to be providing them with better resources. And when you think about being a teacher, I think we're just expected to know things. I think we're just expected to know how to teach everyone and just be amazing at everything, which it's definitely not like that, especially this last year when we were teaching remotely. But I think me being the liaison and being the communicator for students who have disabilities, I'm the one that is implementing their IEPs, which is an individual education plan, and I'm the voice for them. So that is also part of my job, is educating people that don't know, and educating people on the resources that are out there for them to be more inclusive and to provide a better education for all.
That's really great. Thank you so much. And I want to expand on the Sparkle Squad, because you are the co-founder, and you mentioned a little bit about it in our previous episode, but could you explain how it got started, who is involved, how that's really shaped your personal life even? Do you have a lot of fun looking forward to all your practices?
Well, I'm not currently a part of it. I haven't been a part of it for a couple of years. I kind of passed that on as I went to college and was doing other things with Special Olympics, but I started it when I was going actually to the University of Wisconsin-Parkside my first year. So I transferred to Whitewater after that. But the current varsity cheerleaders from my high school, I was a cheerleader all throughout high school. I was the varsity captain for 3 years. So I was heavily involved in the cheerleading program. And then when I graduated, myself and 2 other girls said, hey, wouldn't it be a great idea if we incorporated our special education students into our cheerleading squad? So there's actually a national nonprofit which is called the Sparkle Effect, and they provide opportunities and grant money for cheerleading squads all over the country to be able to start these programs. And so that's what we did, is we had maybe 5 girls the first year. They came to 1 or 2 practices a week, and then they also had about 4 or 5 games that they would come to, and they would cheer on the sidelines with the varsity cheerleaders, and they would also do a halftime routine. So it was an amazing experience for myself, for the cheerleaders, for the girls that were a part of it. And I think it really opened the eyes of also our community about what abilities people have and how we should be celebrating those abilities. The program expanded and it continued, and now we have girls from all over our school district that are a part of the team. But that was kind of the first stepping stone for me in taking an initiative and really making it my own.
Right. And it sounds like this isn't a designated squad for just people with disabilities. It sounds like they are integrated and involved with other non-disabled peers. And I think that that's something that we all should strive for. Yes,
Mhm.
there may be some accommodations that need to be made outside of the environment for the varsity cheerleading squad, but the more that we can have students see and witness the different ways that people need to go about the world, the more that they can go through life making those conscious decisions or even subconscious decisions to support people with disabilities. So it's amazing to hear that they got to do it with the varsity cheerleading, and that it wasn't just here's your opportunity, but you have to
Right.
do it over on this side of the field. I love that. Thank you for sharing about that. And that makes my gears turn a little bit about how we can do that with baton twirling and the majorette squad and marching band, because that's my talent, and that's something that I feel very passionately about. So thank you for sparking some inspiration for me as well.
Of
Um,
course.
so we have talked a lot about your experiences with individuals with disabilities, and through many, many years of advocating for this cause, I'm sure that you've realized all the different misconceptions and stereotypes that are often thought of when people think of people with disabilities. So, what is something that you would really like to clarify or to drive home for our viewers so that they can better understand what it's like to be disabled or how we should view the world for people with disabilities?
Yeah, I think a lot of times when people think of a disability, they think of a physical, you can see it. You can see someone's disability where you know that there maybe be something different about them. But a lot of times we don't know that someone has a disability, and nor should we be treating it as a disability. We should be treating them as that they have different abilities. And that has been a huge point of me being Miss Wisconsin, and what I want to continue to do is providing people with more education about how they can get involved in being more exposed to people who are different than them, whether it's being a volunteer for Special Olympics or whether it's being more cognizant of who you're around on a regular basis, just out in your community. And I talked a little bit about this in our last session about the disability simulations that I did with students, where I would have them pick up pennies and they'd have to go through the different frustrations. But when I talk to older students, I do talk to them about being leaders, and that you are now going to be adults. You're going to be out in the world. You're going to be making your own decisions, and you are going to be leaders. So you either have the opportunity to make sure that you're making inclusive choices for yourself and for everybody else, or being a part of the group that still does not want to make those changes. So I think it's really opening our eyes that it's not always something that we see, but it's something that we should know about. I am a huge advocate for spreading the word to end the word, which is ending the R word. And it's a huge campaign that I try to push every single year. Not only is it just a vocabulary word, but it's also a time for us to educate people about disabilities and about people's different abilities and how we should be celebrating those.
Right. I love how you drove home the point of that disabilities aren't always physical, and there are many invisible disabilities. So whenever those different deficits or differences start to present, people don't see a disability. And so
Right.
they may make judgment because someone can't perform the same way or someone can't execute different things the same way. And it's important to think about disabilities like autism on a spectrum. So there's more needs for support, more needs for resources, and then there's less. But kind of on that higher functioning end of autism, what's kind of an outdated term as well, you think that those people are navigating the world very seamlessly, but when you sit down and you ask them about their day to day and what they need support with, you realize that it's that spectrum of disabilities. Everyone needs some type of support, but it just looks different on everybody.
Definitely. There was a guy that I actually talked to. He has the Ability Center here in Wisconsin, and he creates playgrounds and beach wheelchairs for people with disabilities. But I had a really great conversation with him, and this is always stuck in my brain, of that when he creates these playgrounds, he doesn't want to be creating separate playgrounds. He wants to be implementing ability adaptive programming and ability adaptive equipment in the playgrounds that we already have. And so that also just transcends in so many other ways of what our community is and how we should be thinking about disabilities, and that we shouldn't be changing things and making them separate for those who have different abilities. We should be implementing them into our regular lives and thinking about it in an inclusive way.
Absolutely.
And even as our roles, in our roles as educators, I try to adopt this mindset that our students are doing the best that they can, even because everyone falls short. We're all human, and we all, like Megan was saying, like everyone needs support with some things. So it's really just important to treat everyone with kindness and respect and patience, and just trust that they are doing the best that they can with the resources that they have, and we just work from there. But from just the few conversations that we've had with you, we know that you are a very successful person and very resilient, adaptable, flexible, everything that a title holder should be. But it was difficult at times. So what are some tricks or strategies that you've used to help manage your busy schedule?
I'm a planner person, and I'm a planner person in that I need to write it down in the calendar. I need to actually write it down for myself to remember it. But staying organized is what keeps me sane every single day. I have a sticky note all over my house about something I have to do and something I have to get done, but writing it down and checking it off is very satisfying for me. So I use a lot of checklists. I put everything in my calendar, and take it day by day. I mean, you're only going to accomplish so much every day. You're only going to accomplish so much as a title holder in 1 year. Granted, I had 2 years, so I was a little fortunate, but I think that's what's kept me sane, is staying organized and realizing I can only get so much done in a day. And then if it doesn't get done that day, I will just do it the next day.
Yes, I completely agree with you. And even that is a strategy I've told some of my clients, as well as using sticky notes. And it really helps when you use it in your own life, because it really just validates everything. But I have like so many planners. I have digital planners. I can't live without them. I think, Megan, you're a color coder.
Yes.
Me too.
Well, we're going to enter this new fun segment called the Rapid Fire Round, and it's where you can answer each question with a few words to a sentence, just thinking off the fly. And it's just a chance for our audience to get to know you better. So here we go. What is your favorite snack?
My favorite snack is Dot's pretzels, hands down.
Oh, I've never had those.
Oh, you have to get them. Have to.
Oh man, that sounds good. Now I'm gonna be hungry. Okay, Alyssa, what's your favorite feel-good song? What do you listen to get pumped up?
Honestly, my favorite feel-good song is American Girl by Tom Petty. I'm a huge oldies, 80s rock girl, and I just love Tom Petty, and that's probably a song that will keep me going forever.
Love it.
Classic. What is an item that you can't live without?
Probably my phone. Everything is on my phone. My Google Docs, my calendar, everything. It's how I communicate with people. If I think of something off the top of my head that I need to write down and I'm in the car, I'll say, Siri, put this in my notes. So everything is in there.
I was going to say, you'd probably say your phone or your calendar or your planner.
Yes.
Just to know you. Okay, makeup item that you are obsessed with.
Probably my lipstick that I'm wearing. It is from Urban Decay and it's called Stark Naked. I actually have it sitting right next to my computer right now because I'm like, oh, I might have to put it on again, but it's my favorite. It's just a nice, pretty neutral color that you can wear with everything.
I'll have to look into it. What is the best place to visit in Wisconsin?
Well, the best place probably to visit would be the Wisconsin Dells. I mean, it's so cool. We're the water park capital of the world. I mean, you have to come. And I grew up at Wisconsin Dells. Okay, so this one's a little bit long because I have to give a background story. I grew up at the Wisconsin Dells, which is, there's just probably over 20 different water parks in this one town. And my dad used to do shows in Wisconsin Dells when I was little. My dad is a professional magician. So my dad does magic for a living. And so I would travel with him all the time. And I just always remember going to the Wisconsin Dells and it was such a treat. So if you're ever in Wisconsin, you need to go there. But you also need to come to Racine and have a Danish Kringle because we're also the Kringle capital of the world too.
That is so cool. I have never met someone who is a professional magician.
Yeah. Well, now you did. Now you know someone that has a professional magician as a dad.
Check it off my bucket list to meet someone. Last one. Who is a person that you'd love to give a shout out to?
I would love to give a shout out to my Aunt Cindy. I haven't seen her in a while, and she has had some health issues in the past couple months. So I hope she's doing well. I'm actually going to give her a call this week, but she is the ultimate inspiration for what I do every single day, advocating for people with disabilities, because she is so strong and she has accomplished so much in her life. And I love you very much, Cindy.
That is beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Alyssa, for visiting with us again on Spectrum Sundays. We really enjoyed our conversation, and we're so excited to share all the amazing things that you've had an impact on your community, but what you continue to do as an educator and just as an advocate for the disability community. So thank you so much for being with us. And everyone watching, if you enjoyed this episode as well, please make sure to check out Alyssa on social media. She is on Instagram at ABOHM30 and on Facebook at Alyssa Marie. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Spectrum Sundays. We are your hosts, Francesca D'Alessandro, Miss Thousand Islands.
And Miss Pennsylvania, Megan Sinisi. Please make sure to subscribe to our series and follow us on social media to stay connected to autism professionals and self-advocates.
And remember, true impact is accomplished through active listening and exploring the world through a variety of perspectives.
Join us next week on Spectrum Sundays to help cultivate a community of inclusion, appreciation, and acceptance around autism.